Last thing I've been fooling around with recently, I'm just going through Shay Howe's online book, is I got to this point in his book. Right here, building forms. And so I was just playing around with forms, and if you look at MDN input, shows you all the different inputs that can be used in a form. So we know things like this, a basic form. So form, action method, right? And then we have an input type text. So different input types for a form. So this one's text. So this accepts text. Right? This accepts text. So action means when this form gets submitted, where is it being submitted to? So if it's just /, that's the root of the website. Meaning that would be if it's mcclouds.com, it goes to my home page on mcclouds.com. And my route, right, just that, just the slash, has to know how to handle a form submission, otherwise nothing happens with that submission. I could also specify form handler.php or whatever, or just form handler if I'm doing a RESTful, not specifying file names, right? And so then when that route is submitted to my server, that path at my server knows how to handle a form submission. This form's coming in, and that when it gets sent to that path, my server says when something comes in at this route, that URL and my domain on my server handle it. So that's what action does. You want to see it in action, or no? You get it. You get it? See it in action, give you a preview of what you'll get in the fall. So I would create this func main, and I have a handle func, which means I'm going to give you a function for handling things occurring at certain routes. So if I was doing that one, I would say, hey, if something gets sent into form handler, run function fh, and then I'd create function fh, and it'd be the code for handling that form submission, putting it in a database or whatever, validating it. And then this is going to be listen and serve on 8080. So here, right, if I run this, I thought it was going to do something more. Maybe it's running. Foo ran. Because something came in, just nothing, just my root. And so it called this function and it ran that. And if I go to dog, that route, bar ran. So you should take my course this summer if you want to be in the dad-driven websites in the fall. You should take Udemy, Todd McLeod, go. And I gave you all an access code for that the other day. Well, I'm already logged in, so it's going to show me this. Right? But no. That one I just showed you is already online. But the data-driven websites, no, it's in person, Wednesday night in the fall. Web Advisor. Is Wednesday, 5:30 to 9:20. We only have 5 people enrolled. So even if you aren't going to take the class, go enroll. You know, just show up the first couple of nights. No, you should totally take the class. But Go programming is pretty fun. Create a little program, password storage program, to store all my passwords and generate random passwords. So that's the action. And then method is post or get. So you'll learn about those with me in CIT 90 in the fall. But post is basically through with the form data, so that's on the client. The client hits submit this form, and then that gets sent to the server. And so it's a payload from the client to the server, and that's just part of the payload. If we were to use the method get, then that's in the URL. So it puts all the data into the URL, and you can access those as URL variables. So just do form or post, post. And then we have the input, type text, and we have a label for that. So for first name, and here's ID first name. That label is associated with it. So if you look at the different input types, there's submit, there's required, there's checkbox, search, email, telephone, URL, range, date, time. And I was starting to build those examples, and I was trying to put them in order of, browser support. Date is only like 80% of browsers, which is 10% more. Like we look at can I use. Email is 88%. Date is 70%. Ugh. Sucks. So, but you can look at input here, and you can see these different ones. So we have a button, checkbox. So the type, right? Default type is text. Input type is text. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at input. And input is used to create interactive controls for forms to accept data from the user. And how input works varies depending upon the value of its type attribute. So here's the type attribute, and type can be a button, a checkbox, color, date, date time local, email, file, hidden, image, number, password, radio buttons, range, reset, search, tell, text, URL, week. Whoa. Right? So that's just the type attribute of the input element. Could be all those. And then there's more attributes for the input element. But that's where I got to. So there's just there's input, and then there's input submit. So here's a submit button. And I called it on the button because that text is on the button. I wanted you to make sure that you see that that's what value does. And often you'll see name and ID with the same thing. So you'll see like this sometimes. And that just looks like stuttering doublespeak. It's like, wow, really? Did I have to make that submit for all of those? Type submit, name submit, ID submit, value submit. Programming is stupid. But there's actually, those all play different roles, so that's why I gave them different names. Right? Is that all I changed here? Cool. And so the ID is for when you're wanting to, that it identifies that element. So if you want to target it with JavaScript or CSS, you target that ID. The value is, right, what's on the button. That's the value of the button. And the name is submit. So you name variables. So when that gets submitted to the server, I'm going to have a variable called submit, right, which might have some value. I'm going to have a variable called fname, which will have whatever value the person put into that text box. So that's naming the variable on the form. I feel a little insecure today. I felt that way yesterday too. Can you tell?
No.
Just a little bit of anxiety. What? Sorry, I just slipped into 12-step group speak. First name on the button. I don't know what's different about that one. Input required. Okay, so here input's required. Submit. Oh, you got to fill that out. Okay, because I said required. Okay. And here's some check boxes on the button. I can submit those fine. And you can see that the checkbox all has the same name. So I would have a variable called day with a comma separated list, when that got to the server, a comma separated list of values for whatever was checked. And notice here label is wrapped around it. So that's one way you could do it. I could have also done it with for, like I did it here. For first name. Could have done it that way. You could do it either way with the checkbox. Range is kind of fun. That's cool. That actually has pretty good support. 88.63. I like 95. 12% we're starting to lose money. People are like, that site didn't work for me. So you can't quite use that, I don't think. I think 95% is the benchmark. Onda means something in Spanish, right? No? Who speaks Spanish? Like, ¿qué onda? What's up?
Yeah.
It's like, but you got to put the K in front of it.
Going on?
Is onda just up?
No.
It's like slang.
Arriba.
Huh?
Arriba.
Arriba's up?
Onda is like what's going on. Like, go on.
Oh, what's going on?
Yeah. What do you
So.